Afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. We're going to start in the usual process. There's two sections today. Carve from Sky Sports News will get us underway.
Frank, first of all, what's the latest injury news? Is N'Golo going to be fit for tomorrow?
No, N'Golo's not fit. So, had a small groin issue in the warm-up to the first international game for France. We didn't get him back till after the second game. And he's not fit for Saturday.
What about the other players like Kovacic, Barkley, Christensen?
Yeah, Kovacic had a knock on his thigh, but has trained the last couple of days, so he's in contention. Ross is fine. Andreas Christensen has got a hamstring injury, which will see him out probably for the next 2 weeks. Remind me who you want to know about. I've got a lot of players. Rudiger is training outside with the physios, which is a progression for him. Had a tough injury with some stop-startness to it, which has been unfortunate for everybody. But he's outside. It's positive. A bit of work to be done for him for match fitness, but really positive for us that he's back outside.
Newcastle have been quite inconsistent this season. What kind of performance are you expecting from them? Obviously, you must have seen them beat Manchester United. Do you think they can recreate that kind of performance at Stamford Bridge?
Of course, they'll attempt to do that. I saw them at Tottenham earlier in the season put in a similar show of resilience and organisation and counter-attacking football. So whether they do exactly that, who knows? Obviously that's their prerogative, but they've got templates for getting results against teams in that way. So I'll only see them at their best in terms of how we prepare. What can they do to make it very difficult for us? What can they do to hurt us in the game? And as we know, the Premier League, every game has huge challenges, and I expect nothing else from Newcastle.
And what do you made of the emergence of the two Longstaff brothers in midfield?
Great story. Two lads, the passion of their interview post Manchester United was great to see. But I don't want to talk like I'm talking about them, because they're actually good footballers, you know, who've got a real passion for their club. So I know that their fans will obviously appreciate that, and they'll be tough competitors for us tomorrow, because they're good players. They put their foot in and they care about their club. And from afar, I think it's both of them huge credit and their breakthrough into the team there.
I want to ask you as well about what happened in Bulgaria this week. I think the last time England played in Bulgaria, 2011, you played in that game, and 3 England players were racially abused back then. You must have watched the game on Monday night. What did you make of what you saw?
Yeah, I kind of remember the game. I think I might have been on the bench. I seem to feel like I was on the bench for the game when we came on, but you know, I travelled with England in Europe, in certain parts of Europe, and felt what we all felt and maybe didn't speak about enough. And I think the big progression of Monday night and the positive, you're going to try and take positives out, is where we've got to now, where I think the governing body and the organisations now have to make a big step. I don't think it should be relied on for individual players to be making steps. I think people in charge, firstly, and then the collective nature of how England dealt with it, from manager through staff through players, was something really good to see. And it's not the end of the story, but I think it shows that we are moving in the right direction, and it must carry on.
Have you spoken to the Chelsea players who were away with England last week?
Yeah, I have, and there's not much to say. I spoke with them, asked them how it was. They answered. There wasn't anything too dramatic. No big stories to tell you. They're strong boys. Some of them, we know Tammy recently has suffered on this front in a different degree, and they know I'm there to support them. Simple as that.
Okay, John.
How big a learning curve will it be for your younger players? Obviously, the game in the Czech Republic wasn't easy, and then obviously what happened in Bulgaria.
Yeah, a learning curve in all senses. You know, I think we want to talk about racism, discrimination. Yes, that's obviously a big learning curve for players, but travelling in Europe brings up lots of difficulties. Talking about game now, and talking, I suppose, when you look at Mason's debut, he was trying everything to get in the game, and sometimes I played them. And I said that to him after. A lot of my caps would have felt like how he felt in that first one, and you had to give everything, which Mason always will. He's got a huge career ahead of him for Chelsea and England. But yeah, it was a great experience for them to feel tough matches on the pitch and tough environments off it.
With Mason, do you see a lot of you in Mason Mount when you were a younger player?
Not really. Only in the casual statement, he's an attacking midfield player, wants to score, wants to assist, and I love his work ethic. And I try to have those things, but I think we did have different styles to say.
You mentioned that N'Golo Kante didn't come back to you until after the second game. Is that disappointing, a bit frustrating?
Well, I think before the international break, I know Didier Deschamps mentioned in jest a little bit about Oli Giroud, and that was obviously quite light-hearted, and I get it. We all have our selection problems, and he had his in the two games himself. But the Kante one was not laughing matter, because we communicated before the last international break, because he was injured, so couldn't go. So let's think of what benefits the player. He didn't go. We both agreed on that. So that's how things should work. And after the first game, when he pulled out, he then had a fitness test the day before the second game. Clear that he couldn't play. He then sat on the bench on the evening of the game. So that's not communication. So it's not such a laughing matter, I suppose. And it's more for Kante himself, because he's not an inexperienced player. He's been around the block. He's won World Cups. He's been a fantastic player. So I think that could have been handled better for sure.
Have you spoken to them about the situation?
No, there was our doctors were speaking, and there was some time where things weren't coming back to us as I'd expect them to come back. That's what I mean about communication. So even though we joked about the communication from the time before, that was much better to deal with it as opposed to not. So we got a player back a bit later. I understand when players are on international duty, they're their player as such, but it was quite clear he wasn't fit to play. So from our point of view, we would have wanted him back to work on him. It's been and gone, and as with every international player, I will always try and have open lines of communication with the manager for both our sakes. For Kante, for instance, the first squad, nobody would have benefited from him going, me, him, or France. We have to think about the long term and the care of the player as well. So that sometimes I get is a bit of a grey area.
And on the international break, did it come at a bad time for you? Because you really had momentum, didn't you? You won 4 games on the trot.
Well, hopefully not. But I know what you mean. We were playing well, and we have to make sure we don't have short memories and think that everything will be fine now and we'll get straight back into that. We have to remember why we were playing well. We worked hard. We improved aspects of our game. We were getting good results. We must get straight back to that. So we need to prove that idea slightly wrong, that it'll break us, and try and carry on where we left off.
Hi Frank, my name is Tarawan. What's your opinion about the game? Are you favorite to win? What's your advice for the players?
Well, I mean, it will be easy from the outside. I don't like to talk about favourites personally, but from the outside, people would look at us and make us favourites at home. It would be a casual mistake for us to make, to think that that's the end of the story. We know that Newcastle are determined, they're organised, they have got results already this season against teams that are pushing at the higher end of the league. So I think we need to make sure we control what we can control, which is how quickly we move the ball. Can we create chances enough to score goals, which we have been doing in all our games, and also make sure we're switched on to the dangers that they give us. But I expect us to be strong and physical and at our best and sharp, and if we do that, we'll have a great chance.
Okay, last one, Alison.
Right, how has the international break been for you personally as a Chelsea manager? First time you've had an international break. Have you managed to have a bit of time off, or have you been busier than ever?
No, I did. I took some time I stayed in London, but I spent some time doing the basics. I feel like I live here sometimes, so it's nice to take a few days with my girls, 3 daughters, and obviously my wife, and do some normal things like shopping and stuff that you don't get to do when you're sometimes in this game, and that was quite refreshing. But we work amongst that, so it was a bit of a mixed bag really, but I think it was nice. We're chomping at the bit, I am, to get back to it now after the break.
Hang on, we've got to move on. Sorry, Alison. Last quick one, Alistair.
Yeah, Frank, this week there's been some stats out saying that English under-21 playing time has increased to the best level since for 12 seasons. And also academy players are getting more time this season than they have for 8 seasons. I just wanted to know whether that pleased you, and also why it mattered both from your perspective and also maybe from a Chelsea fan's perspective as well.
It pleases me obviously, because they're competing and playing at a high level in the first team now, the young players. It pleases me for the academy because they're getting recognition for their work. But there is a small point on this one, and I get asked a lot, and I hear a lot that it was the only way it was going to be this year. It's a perfect storm. The players had to play. That's not true. To look at it that way would be a disservice to the competition which I've got in the squad. Be a disservice to Oli Giroud and Batshuayi. Would be a disservice to Kovacic and Ross Barkley. Would be a disservice to the centre backs we've got. These young boys are contesting, and they need to prove how they train that they can play in the team. And then it's my choice. So I think they've proved it on merit. To give me the chance to choose them, and then they need to prove it week in, week out. So it's a good story, great for us, and that they're competing within the squad to get their place. And again, the main thing for me, the happiness, is that having been at Chelsea a long time and seen the academy work and not seen enough young boys come through, now we are. So let's continue with that.
Okay, cameras off please, next section.